Hello and welcome to Go Ballistic, the Scottish Sun's football show. Now, as regular viewers will know, this was all started at the beginning of the Euros. And as you'll all agree, Euros were so yesterday. We're back into proper football now. We'll say no more about what happened in Germany and we'll just look forward. At the minute, we're looking forward to Rangers in the Netherlands, Celtic in the United States, Hearts, Kilmarnock, St Mirren, all heading out to Europe. And for the rest of the clubs, the Premier Sports Cup campaign starts tomorrow. It's first games for the likes of Jimmy Fallon at Aberdeen, David Gray, the new manager at Hampden, and of course Don Cowie confirmed as manager at Ross County. I have got my colleague Gareth Law with me today. Gareth, you look excited. You looking forward to it all?
Yes, I think we're all ready for it now. After you mentioned Germany, I don't remember what happened in Germany. But yeah, I think we're all ready for getting back into it. It does seem like it only finished yesterday, but I think there's an appetite now. Been out at a couple of games, and but yeah, pre-season friendlies don't cut the mustard really, do they?
We'll hear on this show from Andy Devlin, who's in the Netherlands with Rangers ahead of tomorrow's game against Ajax. He will assess the situation with Rangers moving from Ibrox to Hampden. He will look at the signings that are already in and the ins and outs that might well come to Rangers before the end of this transfer window at the end of next month. Gareth, you go to the United States with Celtic next week. Games against Chelsea, Manchester City, DC United. Still no transfer business there. You spoke to Brendan Rodgers after the win against Queen's Park in midweek. Do you expect him to have new people in by the time they leave?
Well, it was a week this evening. We spoke to him for the first time after the Ayr game, and he was calling for patience basically then. 7 more days have gone past. As you say, no new signings, no new goalkeeper, no new striker. There's been a bid rejected for Matt O'Reilly. They must be looking for a replacement for him because, he will go. I don't think he'll be here at the start of the season. So, and then on Wednesday when we spoke to him, he was quite happy to, what's the best way of putting it? He was quite happy to talk about the latest on the transfers, because he said we have to improve. So the questions weren't he wasn't bothered by being asked about them again. He says there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. He also says he wants a couple in before they go to the States on Tuesday. The clock is ticking. There's going to have to be a lot of work between now and then. I mean, there are issues like English clubs and when they come back for pre-season in relation to when Scottish clubs come back. I think there's the Adam Eder situation. Norwich have got a new manager. The Norwich manager wants to look at him. The situations with the goalkeeper, they do need some kind of marquee signing there, some sort of name, I think, to replace somebody like Joe Hart. But yeah, I think particularly after what happened last season, when the recruitment didn't work this time last year, I think, they do need to do something, even if it's just to sort of pacify the home support. He said he could have brought in 9 players by now if he wanted to, but he wants to get the right players. You get that. You don't want panic buys. You don't want jersey fillers. But you would expect something to happen in the next few days, I think.
Now, Gareth, you've been here at the Scottish Sun 20 years, respected throughout the industry, respected throughout Scottish football.
Where are you going with this?
You get the big games. Therefore, you're at Motherwell, Edinburgh City tomorrow.
Yeah.
Of the other teams, the likes of Motherwell, who's impressed you with their signings so far in this window?
Well, I'm quite looking forward to seeing Motherwell tomorrow. They made a big thing, quite rightly, last season of the spirit that they got in that changing room, which carried them through that long, dismal run, actually, and probably helped keep Stuart Kettlewell in a job. I think he's brought in 9 new faces, plus he's got Andy Halliday now in permanently, lost the captain, Liam Kelly, lost Bless Spittle, obviously, to Hearts, these kind of guys, big players. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what they come out with tomorrow. I do think Hearts have signed well, actually. I mean, you mentioned Bless Spittle. I think he's a very good signing. Jan Dander as well. I think they'll be a force to be reckoned with. Hibs will be interesting. They brought in some new faces as well. Obviously, got David Gray in there. I think Motherwell will be an interesting start to the season tomorrow.
Long way to go in this window. Football starts tomorrow. Well, we can now head to the Netherlands. We can speak to Andy Devlin as they're covering Rangers pre-season. I always like it when we go to a supposedly glamorous continental destination and the weather's worse than it is in Glasgow. What's it been like, Andy?
Pretty miserable, Roger, all truth be told. Yeah, training was a bit of a washout this morning, torrential rain, and I think it's set to continue through today and probably, tomorrow for kick-off as well. Rangers obviously facing Ajax tomorrow. So yeah, it looks as if the rain is set to continue through until kick-off tomorrow.
Joking apart, but speaking about the weather, does that cause a problem for Philippe, Clement and the players in terms of their training schedule?
Well, there was a lot of thunder and lightning in the area this morning, Roger. We were in the south of the country this morning in Venlo. We've headed north this afternoon. So yeah, it restricted the players and the coaching staff in terms of what they were able to do. As I say, the rain has been torrential for the last 24 hours. And as I say, it's set to continue through until the game. So there was a bit of disruption this morning. But we've watched the kind of last couple of training sessions and Philippe Clement has worked his players hard. Yesterday was a bit of a rest day in the sense that they were monitoring those players coming back from lengthy injuries, the likes of Danilo, etc. They obviously had the game the day before, so it was a kind of very light session yesterday, and today, yeah, they were back at it this morning. They will, I think, Rangers travel north tomorrow morning for the game before returning back south and then heading home, obviously, to Glasgow on Sunday.
You watched the 0-0 draw with Standard Liège in midweek. To say it was low-key would be something of an understatement. I think there were 10 changes at half-time. It looked to be played in almost like a public park. It's a wee step up against Ajax in, was it, on Saturday afternoon?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the game in midweek was designed to be low-key. Obviously, Philippe Clement's connections with Standard Liège brought about that fixture, if you like. There was obviously no fans there. It was very low-key. The only player that got a full 90 minutes was the keeper, Jack Butland. Notable absentees were James Tavernier, the captain, and Todd Cantwell, who have no minutes yet, just through injuries and niggles and whatnot. But everybody else had a run out. Obviously, Clinton Nasala making his debut, Connor Barron making his debut, and also Jeffy at left back. I don't think the Rangers manager will do that tomorrow. I can't see him starting, with 1-11 and then changing again at half time. It is going to be a much tougher test against Ajax. But it's exactly what the Rangers manager is looking for at this stage in the pre-season campaign.
You spoke about Jack Butland getting the 90 minutes. I know you've spoken to Liam Kelly. The full interview will be in the Scottish Sun on Saturday. It will be online as well. I know on social channels. Will Rangers fans get to see a bit of Liam Kelly at the weekend, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I think he probably will feature against Ajax at some stage. Obviously, Robbie McCrory has left, as we know, to join Clement. John McLaughlin had left in the summer. So yeah, I mean, Liam Kelly's there. He's now back up to Jack Butland. As you say, there's an interview in the paper tomorrow where he speaks of his hopes and ambitions of pushing the established Rangers number one. Let's be honest, Jack Butland had an outstanding season, his first season in Glasgow. So I mean, Liam Kelly, well aware of his standing in the pecking order, if you like. But yeah, I would expect that he will feature at some stage. He was obviously later coming into the camp because he had his 2-week break at the end of the Euros. He was obviously part of Steve Clarke's Scotland squad, so he had a 2-week holiday at the behest of the Rangers manager. Philippe Clement extended his break, so he had just hooked up. Obviously, the game in midweek against Liège probably coming too soon for him, but yeah, I would expect he would get some game time tomorrow.
You touched on Kelly and Ciala, Barron, obviously Hamza Igamani has come in as well. Jeffy's come in at left back. Philippe Clement talking about the rebuild in your interview in the Scottish Sun this morning. Do you see more transfers soon, or will Rangers fans be waiting up until the window closing at the end of August before this summer rebuild's over?
Yeah, I suspect this is going to go the distance, Roger. I really do. I don't think there's anything imminent at the moment, let's say. Niels Coppen, the director of recruitment, is out here constantly on his phone, constantly on his computer. Rangers are clearly working around the clock in an attempt to bring in, new players. The manager has already spoken about the need to add experience to the squad. The players that you mentioned, Roger, he mentions it in the interview this morning. Hamza Igamani, for example, is very much one for the future. He's not ready to come in and play first team football. The same with Clinton Nasala. So of all the summer signings, you have Connor Barron and Jeffy obviously at left back. Potentially first team starters, so he really needs to get players in the door. But as I say, I suspect this is going to go to the wire for Rangers.
In terms of outgoings, Andy, you broke the story of Birmingham's interest in Connor Golds, and there's been interest in Cyril Dessers as well. There was a story of Todd Cantwell's agent offering him to clubs, and there's still doubts about the future of the club captain, James Tavernier. Can you see some of these players departing Rangers, basically to give Clement the funds to bring more players in?
I think that's inevitable, Roger. I think it will need to happen. We're speaking to the Rangers manager later on as well to get a clearer indication of who's in his plans, who's not in his plans, and just how he's going to fund this massive rebuild that he faces. He says this morning in the paper that Rome wasn't built in a day. Rangers won't be rebuilt in a day. I think Rangers fans are, I think they're going to have to brace themselves for I'm not saying a difficult season, but I think expectations maybe have to be tempered slightly, because if you look at the players who have left, albeit they had probably run their course at Ibrox, there was a lot of experience went out the door in the summer, Roger, by the likes of Lundstrom and Barisic and Kemar Roof, obviously, when he was fit, everybody, could see what he brought to the team. So, yeah, we're 3 weeks away from the start of the season, and Clement and Niels Coppen have their work cut out to try and shape this Rangers squad into his image and how he wants it to look moving forward. So yeah, it's clearly players that you mentioned there, are susceptible in that. If he's going to be able to rebuild the team, then some of these other guys will have to go as well. I think that's inevitable.
And we can't have a discussion just now about Rangers without discussing the big issue, the move to Hampden. John Bennett spoke about it last night. He confirmed he can't say when Rangers will be back at Ibrox because of the delays and the work on the Copeland Road stand. Philippe Clement, though, says he will accept no excuses at the start of the season, regardless where Rangers play home games.
Yeah, listen, I think there's absolutely no doubt, Roger, that the news came as a surprise to him. I think he was kind of taken aback by the situation and where Rangers find themselves. He didn't say anything to us, but I mean, you obviously what's going on behind closed doors. Yeah, he's made that clear since he came in that he won't accept an excuse culture, if you like. This is the hand they've been dealt with. They need to deal with it. That obviously entails playing a minimum, we think, of 5 games at the National Stadium at Hampden. Rangers are supremely hopeful. I'm not going to say confident, but they are hopeful that this won't rumble on into October. They expect to be back at Ibrox first weeks in September, although that wasn't mentioned in the statement by the chairman yesterday, as you say. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's a huge inconvenience. But yeah, they're going to have to roll their sleeves up and get on with it, because this is the reality that's facing them.
Andy, that's great. Thank you very much. I'll let you go and dry off. Speak to you soon. Well, thanks again for watching Go Ballistic. Don't forget to subscribe to the Scottish Sunsport YouTube channel to watch all of our analysis and interviews and all the coverage from Rangers pre-season, Celtic pre-season and into the new season. Thanks again.